We are live and direct here in Carlsbad. I got my good friend, and I say good friend because over the past 90 days, we spent a lot of time together. Okay, and I'm learning a lot about him and what his whys and reasons are for doing this. Because you get into this business, and there's a lot of things you can look at: the money, you can look at the opportunity, you can look at the freedom, but you really got to look at why is it worth it. You know what I mean? Because this business it ain't easy. It's simple, but it ain't easy. And it's going to teach you a lot about yourself. And during those, you say learning curve, right? Anything you get in, it's baseball, football, I had a learning curve when I transferred into NC State. It was a different deal. Makes sense? I went from junior college to Division I baseball. Things sped the hell up, right? And it was like, oh, wow, there's a learning curve there. But it was all about how committed was I to the process. And my man Kyler Arenado here. What's up, Kyler?
What's going on?
Out of Huntington Beach, went to UC Davis, played ball, and he has really walked and ran through that learning curve. And I say that two things because walking through it is like you can bust through it, which I recommend, okay? But a lot of us are going to tend to walk through it and make a decision to start running. And that's what I've seen over your last 90 days, dude, is I'm in the process, but am I in love with the process? And learning so much about yourself throughout that. And this week, you know, you've helped over 15 families in a week. And I think the week before that, it was 8, 9 families. And the week before that, 6 or 7. Like you've been on this upward swing the past 3-4 weeks. And I think everybody who comes in this business can relate to your 90 days, dude. You know, to be honest, when I started my first 30 days, dude, I helped 27 families. I couldn't relate. Does that make sense? I didn't know what it was like to not be, I guess, seeing some sense of success early. Okay, higher level of success early. Now, does that mean you're going to last? Hell no, dude. I've seen people come in, smoke it, and then 90 days later they're out of the business. It's not a bearing on how long you're going to be around or how good you're going to be. But I do know, odds are you're going to fall in the same boat as Kyler of, I got to find myself through this, and I may have to go over a few obstacles to get there, but within 80 days, I can be helping 15 plus families a week. Is anybody watching this right now would not be okay with that? So today we're going to talk about some of those things. We're going to talk about some of those struggles. We're going to talk about how you overcame them. Make sense?
Yep.
And what you're doing now to ensure that you can help other people go out there and do this. But, you know, you prove to yourself, dude, that this is a man who think of will, a man who don't. You heard that thing? A man convinced his will is of the same opinion still. Dude, it doesn't matter how much I believe. It's about what you believe. Makes sense? And once you start believing in you in the process, this thing starts working, dude. So good work, man. And give us a little quick update, dude. What did that 80, 90 first days look like for you?
Yeah, so I would say my first like 60 days total were probably not my best days or my favorite days. And there's definitely even a lot of moments where I felt like I wanted to quit. But what kept me from that was I had, first off, I had people who doubted that I could do it. And then second, I was like, I have too many people who I've already met who would be like, yo, dude, where you at if I did quit? So I was like, all right, well, I cannot do that. So, my first 60 days, it was a lot of learning, a lot of appointments, a lot of time on the phone, and really a lot of grinding. Because when you're first starting, especially if you don't see immediate success, like, I would say most people don't see immediate success.
Correct.
You get a little frustrated and you get down and you start questioning. Even it's funny because I wrote 17 apps last week. On Saturday I wrote 0, and it was Saturday night, and I was like, damn, did I lose my touch? And then I came out Sunday and then wrote 6 apps the next day. So it's gonna be up and down like that the whole time, just because doubt starts to creep in. And I know a lot of people, we hire athletes, you kind of go through that similar thing. Is where you have a great day, kind of next day you go for 4Ks, and you're like, damn, I suck now. You just gotta kind of get through that self-doubt and then be like, well, nothing changed. I'm not changing anything. That's the same thing in baseball too. I used to change everything all the time.
Mm.
And when you change everything all the time, you got a bunch of moving parts. You just got to stay the same and just stick with what's working. And if it doesn't work for a day, it doesn't mean it's broken. Just keep going with the same thing. Just stay consistent and just keep that exact same schedule, exact same, dialing, whatever. If you keep it the same, your variables stop moving and, you can hit a wall instead of hitting a target that's going like this. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say the main struggle was. It's just there's a lot going on in your head and you got to just make it not talk and just keep it simple. That's like
you said there's people who doubted.
mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And that was a driving force. What are some examples of doubt? Was it just straight up in your face, you can't do it? Or is it like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so first off, self-doubt, like I was talking about earlier. Self-doubt is like, you go out there for your first couple weeks. My first week, no sales. My second week, like 1 sale.
Yep.
And then, so I doubt my first one, so that was super lit. And I was so hyped on that. And then you go out, thinking you're going to be a lot better. Still like 5 appointments in. And you have that self-doubt still to this day. It's sometimes you come in and you're like, dude, can I do it again? You gotta just not even think about that. Just put in the same activity, same opportunities, and things will vary up and down just based on things happen. But in terms of other doubt, my parents definitely were like, no, you should get your master's, and do this, do that. You can't work 7 days a week. What are you doing? You work more than me, blah blah blah. And like now I definitely work less than them, just for reference. But just people telling you there's things that you can't do or it's not supposed to be a certain way. And that can definitely affect you. It definitely didn't affect me because I was like, nah, just watch, just give me some time. That's what I would say every time. Give me some time. Just watch. Give me some time. And that's when things started changing in the positive way is when, I wasn't worried about what other people said anyway. It was more the self thing of can I actually do it? And then once I did do it, being like, okay, wait, yeah, I can. And it's not that hard either.
Right.
So
how important has athletes, right? Like we have to train. Like I don't care what God gave you. All right. You got to practice. You got to keep after it. How important and what's the correlation between the intensity of training that you give in athletics and the training here?
Yeah, so let's talk about like athletic training. I was always super on top of that, whether that's lifting, baseball. I was always in the cages or on the field. I was very good at that. And that just came over directly to this business is that I was, even from the very first day before my first appointment, I was already watching, from the day I got contracted, honestly, I was already watching trainings because I was not going to go out my first day and look like a fool. That's just not how I work. I want to be prepared. I want to be trained and have an idea of what's going on. Even if I didn't know how to start an application, at least I knew kind of the words to say. So for me personally, that's just like, I have a couple of favorites on YouTube and I just like, whenever like yesterday on Sunday, that was when I sold 6 apps. What I did in the morning, I made my first outbound dial at 8, but at 7:30, I was watching Zach Moreno. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of like get a little refresh of what he sounds like, what he's saying. Even though I already know what I'm going to say, I'm just kind of watching as like a little refresher, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with like watching your swing. Is it working right? Am I sounding right? Or it's very similar, and it's just being very committed to wanting to get better. And then if you have that, like you can't really lose because you just combine a bunch of different melting pots of trainings and become a beast.
100%. Now, there's a difference between watching trainings and they make sense than watching trainings and putting yourself at risk to actually do what you heard in the trainings. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot of our training is some of the stuff you hear, that a lot of things that you hear that you're like, oh, that's kind of funny, or damn, did they really say that? Those are the things that you hear, but then we don't do. Okay? Can you talk about some of the things that you actually started doing from the trainings? Because the difference between listening, training, and doing it, right?
Yeah.
What have you started doing in the home and taken from these trainings that maybe at the beginning you heard it, maybe did it a little bit, but didn't do it exactly the way you're hearing it? Because you're doing exactly what you're hearing now when before you were taking trainings in and filtering it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you're taking trainings in with no filter. I think that's huge because there's somebody like, dude, I can go to the gym, but if I'm going to the gym and just like not really, you know what I mean? Like there's different levels, intensities to training. Fair to say? There's guys, I'm in the cages with Kyler just like he is. yeah, dude, you're on the iPad the whole time and like you're not swinging the bat.
Mhm.
Makes sense. So what has changed for you with your training and putting it in play?
Yeah, so with a lot of our trainings, it's not like encouraged to copy and paste, just because everyone has a little bit of a different style, and you're not that person. But I really started just saying almost exactly what that is of whatever it is they're saying. Specifically, Zach Moreno, guys. Like for me, that's been like the game changer for me was Zach's trainings, and I just started basically saying exactly what he's saying. And then I forgot who said this, but it was like, soon you'll find out, not what you're saying, but why you're saying it. And then when you find out why you're saying certain things, it's almost always to set it up so that you hit every objection before it even comes up.
Yep.
And I would say that's the biggest thing lately for training is that I'm taking what they're saying, understanding why they're saying it,
Yes.
and then that just basically like for all the phone sales I've been doing is there is never any objections, and it's because I set it up the right way. That makes sense. So
1000%, dude.
And how else could I put this? I think that would make sense, right? I forgot what I was gonna say besides
No,
that.
it does. It does. And I think at the beginning, take it and spit it out, right? A lot of people are too in a hurry to make it their own. Just do it that way. Just copy it exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
And then eventually you will make it your own by default.
Yeah, you will.
But if you start it and go, okay, I like that piece, but I'm going to do it this way because I have all this sales experience. Like, let's just be clear. Like, I was doing that to myself, and Sean was like, dude, what's your background in sales? I was like, I don't have one. He goes, so what do you like, how when you hear the training and then you reconfigure it to your liking, what are you basing that on? Damn, when you ask me like that, shit, dude, I don't know. I guess my comfort level. That's the problem. You're adjusting the training to your comfort level, and that's why you're not winning. See, the training is designed to make you uncomfortable. If I took a workout, right, and said, let me make this workout comfortable, I ain't going to get the same damn results as the uncomfortable way to do it, right?
100%.
I have
100%.
to do it the way that's uncomfortable to grow, period. And that's what our training is. It's you can't filter it out and do it. Oh, I'm going to do my squats this way. Nah, dude, you're going down 45 to a 45, dude. I need you down breaking 90. That's a squat. I was at the gym the other day doing this little leg press thing, right? And it had this electronic thing on it, right? I tried to cheat it, dude. And so I was doing it and I didn't know it counted your reps, right?
Yeah.
So I'm over here, I'm on like 8, right? I look over, my shit says 3. And I'm like, 3? I was like, yeah, dude, because I'm like, it has a sensor of when you go the right level.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm over here trying to cheat. Like, dude, all right, dude, I gotta do 5 more.
Yeah, it's
right?
tracking you.
But it was tracking me, dude. It was not just based on am I moving the weight, but am I doing the weight at the right level to get a damn result? This is big, dude. Because this is if you're not coachable and teachable, this business is I don't know how you're gonna teach yourself. Do you know what I mean? And it's not about who hired you. It's about do they allow, like, the environment that you're in. FFL is full of winners. If you are only relying on who brought you into the business for everything, you're going to get let down. Like, Sean Mike didn't teach me everything about this business. He hired me. And Marcus is the guy who really hired me. He didn't teach me nothing. So I wasn't like relying on Marcus. What are you going to teach me? Nothing at all. He was on the couch watching football. I was selling insurance. So, which is the truth, right? Could you imagine having a roommate? But I felt like so endowed to him. I was like, dude, like, I'm indebted to you. I mean, like, you told me about this. Who cares? Like, and then comes a point in time, he quit. But you want to be, you want to be so in a place to where nothing around you is going to dictate what you're going to do. So to your point, Kyler, of self-doubt, like, that's good when it's like, if that's the main thing, you're in a good spot. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a lot harder to deal with external stuff, right? But self-doubt is something like, I had this hat Bryce gave me. It says, stop it on it. That's what I think. Whenever you start doubting yourself, stop it. Whenever you start feeling like less, stop it. Because there's no room for any of that emotional stuff being an independent contractor. Just like there's no room to be, there's like, was that League of Their Own? No crying in baseball, right? Ain't no crying in commission-based sales, dude. Like, get up, you got another at bat.
Yeah, for real.
We got
It's so
162
similar.
games, dude. It's like there's one thing about it. Like, I guess you can cry in other sports because they only got like 15 games, right? We got 162. You got 4 at-bats. We play every day. Get over it, bruh. And that's what this is.
Yep, it is.
We got a lot of time. You're getting way too emotional off of one at-bat. Chill. Or for one series, right?
Yep, 100%.
You know, it's like you got to keep your emotions in check. Dude, imagine if you were as emotional in baseball as some people are in business.
I would have been done.
Done, right?
If I was as emotional as I was in baseball with this.
Done.
I'd be out.
Done, dude.
Like a light.
But we failed more in baseball.
Yeah.
Ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
We failed more, but we understood the failure.
Mm-hmm.
And us working together, you guys, if you're watching this, you're not with us. If you're with us right now, our job is to help you understand it. It's to, like what you said, it's like when you hear stuff like, oh, they said call them 3 times in a row. Well, if you don't understand why we say call them 3 times in a row, it sounds stupid.
Yep.
If we say start calling at 7:30 in the morning and you don't know why we call them at 7:30 in the morning, it sounds dumb. Makes sense? Like I was a big wanting to know why. Like I wanted to know how leads were created. Not so that I can create my leads. Hell no. Just so I can feel better about when I'm calling them.
Mm.
Like when the internet leads, when they told me, hey, dude, they actually go through 18 different prompts and answer all those things like separately. I was like, damn. They're like, yeah, and they take an average of 2.5 seconds on every screen. I was like, oh, okay. I'm just trying to sell myself on why they need insurance.
Yeah.
I need to know. I'm trying to sell myself. Okay, cool. Now that's why I'm gonna call them 3 times. That's why I'm gonna call them at 7:30. That's why if I'm just straight up and tell them to come over to the house, it's no big deal. That's why when they tell me don't call them back and I call them back, I don't care. That's why. Because, dude, they were on this form online for 5.5 minutes. Doesn't make sense. Why would they not want it?
Right.
But if I just think they clicked, auto-filled, it just came to me by Casper, I don't know how convinced I am.
Yeah. Definitely.
Makes sense?
Definitely.
So in closing, dude, what would you like to share with the group, man?
In closing, just sharing with you guys, definitely about self-doubt still. Just because of anything that comes in, even external, because I'm not really too worried about what other people say or think. It doesn't really matter to me. It's keeping your mind right for just being present and then not worrying about things that you can't really control. Because if you put in the same activity every single day, you'll have some days with 0s, you'll have some days with 8, you know? And if you keep the things that you control at bay and just keep doing the same thing for when you're succeeding, doing that same thing over and over again, law of large numbers, it'll all play out in the right way if you just keep consistent with what you do and then not doubting that this is a new day and that, oh, this is different now. So that's what I would say is control the controllables and forget everything else. Anything external, just forget about it.
Forget about it. Dude, we're on a mission. You're on a mission. I see what you're doing. I see it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, we're going for those 50K months.
Why not? You can do it too. Give us a shout.
Yeah. Trust me, you can do it. I sucked at first, like really badly.
We all did in different ways. All right. You were mature sucking, right? I was immature doing well. Does that make sense? So both, there's pros and cons to both, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, you could be, there's just so many levels, but it's about, dude, you get month 4, 5, 6, everything starts to level out, and then you start to see who's really about it.
Yeah.
Who's really about it, because it's very simple when all the money's coming in. But when things start falling off, like earlier this week, you said that you on Monday were supposed to get paid $2,000 or something like that and got paid $1,200. You're like, dude, chargebacks don't really suck. I'm like, they don't suck when you sell life insurance.
They only suck if you stop selling.
Yeah. If you sell 1 policy a week, they will suck. If you sell 2 policies a week, they will suck. You sell 10 a week, they will never suck. Doesn't matter at all. If I'm helping 10 and I know 2 are going to fall off, who cares? But if I'm helping 2, most likely both of them are going to fall off because it's the law of large numbers. So when you get small ones, you get screwed.
Yeah. You got to have enough on the books to make the law work.
You make the law work.
Yeah.
All right. People go, what's the numbers game? Like, yeah. You got to play the numbers though.
Yeah.
So let's keep rocking, dude.
I'll close with one more thing.
Yeah, you got it.
I would say, self-doubt, all that aside, don't quit before you get your chance to take off. Because if you quit too early and you don't know when that ceiling is going to be, it could be the first day, it could be a week, could be a month. But if you quit before any of that even happens, you'll never even know the opportunity or the potential that it could have been. So in closing, I would say don't quit before your chance to take off. That's what I would say.
Good work. Peace out, you guys. Talk to you soon.